Good day, beautiful soul family, and welcome back to the discovery of the miracles beneath the surface. All the honor and all the glory and praise goes to our Heavenly Father in King Yeshua's name. Beautiful soul family. This is a refresher. One of the things that's so amazing is that when we go into the Holy Scriptures and we're getting ever so closer to our Abba Yah, ever so closer to understand how amazing He is, the beauty of our King of Kings, King Yahuah, His sacrifice, the mere fact that He's with us, where He continues to say, "Give me your burdens and take of my yoke, for it is light. Learn of me." That word learn, I believe that word learn is timeless. Learn of me, for I am meek and humble of heart. And today we're going to be going back into the account of Daniel. All the honor and all the glory and praise goes to our Abba Yah for bringing forth this insight. This insight that is especially important because when kept under such captivity, one could be subsided with so many things, can become complacent. So we need to get back into alignment, get back in tune with our Abba Yah, because we're never lost, but we are found. It's a finding, like a finding out of the truth, and understanding that when we are brought into confusion in the midst of captivity, our Abba Yah has always knew where we are. Beautiful soul family. You know, in the account of Daniel and the Hebrew brothers, I call them brothers. I mean, really, we are brothers and sisters, okay? So the Hebrew brothers, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, and Daniel. Now there are many other Hebrews that were held in captivity. Nebuchadnezzar, he told his chief eunuch, Ashpenaz, to go ahead and get the cream of the crop. Bring them into the palace. And they were to go through a very intricate 3-year schooling, indoctrination really, where they were taught different languages, learned about different sciences, so on and so forth. Now we know about that for those who go into the Holy Scriptures, for those even, maybe, some things are taught and some things are caught. Maybe they hear it on passing. Beautiful soul family. We see the steadfastness. Daniel set that intention in his heart that he wouldn't defile his temple. The Hebrew brothers weren't choosy for their words and decided, hey, I am not going to bend a knee to any idol, any statue, any statutes. I'm keeping my loyalty to my Abba Yah. Where they said, even we know our Abba Yah, our Elohim, our Almighty Creator, the Most High Yah, can save us from your hands. But even if that doesn't take place, we're still not bending a knee. And we know about the fiery furnace. And we know about the lion's den. But today we're going to talk about something far more deeper. And it's not exactly brought out in Daniel's account as we in the book of Daniel. But when we go into Isaiah chapter 39 verse 7, and it reads, "And some of your descendants," this is the descendants of Hezekiah, okay? "And some of your descendants, your own flesh and blood, will be taken away to be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon." Eunuchs. Eunuchs. Do you know what that means? That means that they were once a bull and they were castrated. You see, as we look into the account of Daniel and the Hebrew brothers, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, they were brought into by the means of the head eunuch into the castle, into the palace, to be an official. But on account of keeping the royal, they were made eunuchs. So you see, beautiful soul family, these Hebrew brothers, now they weren't the only Hebrew brothers there, but they were the ones that decided that they were not going to forsake Yahuah, no matter what was taken away from them. Legacy was taken away from them. Future was taken away from them. But in their life, they held it down. Beautiful soul family. They were castrated. So no longer were they in their norm, but so much was taken away from them. Their names were changed. They were taught things such as the Chaldean sciences and languages. And then they had to have been tested. But because of their steadfastness, Yahuah was the one that promoted them. As I mentioned, there were other Hebrews that were held under captivity and went under the same means, but they turned the coat. They turned their back on Yahuah. And so they ended up being jealous. It wasn't just Hebrews that turned their back on Yahuah that was jealous, it was others. Because how dare these people be promoted over us? The Hebrew brothers, they lost a lot. But they did not put their blame on Yahuah. You know, it's so interesting that my family and I were talking about this, and Abaya showed my oldest son that Hezekiah, he was a king that was sick at one point, and then there was another king that was communicating with him through correspondence of letters. And Hezekiah thought, oh yeah, they care about him. So he was telling them about what was in his treasures and his castle, and the prophet was saying, why would you do that? Well, those kings were coming over, but they were coming over to invade and to take for themselves. So interesting. And so King Hezekiah went ahead and prayed and fasted. And Yahuah extended his days for years. And he was happy, but Abba Yah said that your future descendants would suffer the consequences. And he was sadly fine with that. So who is his future descendants? Well, that we see with Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Those who were held captive, they were the cream of the crop. And Hezekiah didn't care. He thought that his life was spared, but there was a reason why his life was spared. It was spared because of who was coming down the bloodline and what they would do. They would be taking a stance against a Babylonian system. A stance, an example of how when you have a relationship with Yahuah, it's not, I'm a pick and choose. It's, I'm a decree and declare, I'm going to be dedicated no matter what. No matter what is at loss, no matter what is taken. They may have been able to take away legacy, future, but they weren't able to take away their dedication and loyalty to Yahuah. And so on account of that, account of their dedication, account of them not giving up, account of them not bending the knee, account of them not giving up on prayer, no matter who was around, no matter who was in charge, Yahuah saved them, protected them. You may say, look, they were castrated and then put in the fiery furnace. Why didn't he save them from being castrated? Beautiful soul family, those that were castrated is an example of how even though a lot of things can be taken from you, whether it's physically or spiritually, you know, there are so many things emotionally that we may be connected to, and those things may be taken away. Maybe things that we're mentally inclined to draw to, maybe those things are taken away. Whatever is taken away is taken away to control. Removing certain things is a weapon to castrate, to control. When we have our relationship with Yahuah, no matter what captivity is going on, they can't take what they can't grip. But we can nourish our relationship with Yahuah. And that's why it's so important to go into the Holy Scriptures, planting those seeds into our hearts. You see, there's nothing new under the sun. The bucking system. I mean, you know, those colonists that enslaved the innocent, they did the same thing. Anyone that wanted to learn how to read and write, they tortured them, killed them, bucked them, tried to break society down, change their names, so on and so forth. But the one thing they couldn't take is their dignity, is their loyalty to Yahuah. I'm in hopes that as we are hearing this message and getting this insight, that this system will try to do so much, especially when they have you in the house, in their system. Glory be to you, Father. They will take away something first to keep that control over you. And I pray that you don't give it up. I pray that you keep your relationship with Yahuah no matter what. Because there's so much going on these days, as did back then. Certain people are in authority, rulership, but they're not privy to have heavenly, sacred knowledge. And so they may rule, they may be able to take over kingdoms and countries and so on and so forth, territories, but they still don't hold the power that can free us from the grips of the lion and the bear. Until the next message, have a beautiful and wonderful day, and may Yahuah continue to open up your eyes in these interesting times.